The video for section 9.3 and we're doing the vertex form. Vertex! This is the parent function. You're going to compare everything to the parent function. And what we're really looking at is transformations. Transformations means how does it change? But you need the original, and the original is always f of x is equal to x squared. And this one is called the parent function. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. The vertex form is to see how the equation changes or transforms from the parent function. We're not going to graph, even though that this foldable has graphs. We'll talk about that at a later date. I just want to make sure that I give you the information that you need for right now. Anyways, well, let's take a look at this. The first thing that we're going to look at is this A. A can be a number 1, so I'm going to write A is equal to 1. And when A is equal to 1, there is no change in the graph. So there isn't a transformation. And then we're going to look at the absolute value of A being bigger than 1. And what that means is like a negative 2 is the same thing as a 2 because it's the absolute value. A negative 1/2 and a positive 1/2 are going to be compared to each other. So if I have a number that's bigger than 1, then the graph is narrower than the parent function or the original. So this one over here. We also have, like I mentioned before, fractions. And I'm going to get 0 is less than or equal to the absolute value of less than 1. So this number has to be between 0 and 1 for it to be wider. So what do I mean? 0.5, 1/3. These are all numbers that are between 0 and 1 that are going to make the graph wider. How about if the number is negative? We say that that is a vertical reflection. We're still looking at quadratic, so it does have x squared, but it's going to look at this form right here. I want you to notice that this right here says negative h. That means that the vertex is going to be h. So we always have to change the sign. So I'm going to write over there, change the sign. You have to change the sign of the h and keep the k the same. The H indicates a horizontal shift. You will see that word all the time. We need to understand that that means horizontal shift. Just means left or right. And then the K is going to give you a vertical shift. One means up and down, up or down. This will make sense more once we practice. So I want you to take a look over here. We're not going to graph for right now. We'll do that later. But for today, I want you to notice that 1 is our A value. So there is no change as it being narrower, wider, and there's no reflection off the x-axis. So now we need the vertex. Remember, we changed the sign of the x, so this would be 1, and we keep the sign the same of the k. So this is -3. Why does that matter? Remember that these two tell me the horizontal and vertical shift. This means right, or to the right, 1. And a negative 3 would mean down 3. And like I mentioned before, the more practice that we get, the better we're going to get at this. So let's open this up. Here, 1 is our A, so there's no change, a wider, narrower, or reflection. Our vertex is 2, negative 4. That means that we're going to go to the right 2 and down 4. Let's take a look at this one. This is what I mean when the A value is bigger than 1. Because A is bigger than 1, we know that it has to get narrower than the parent function. Narrower means that it just looks skinnier. But remember, we're not looking at the graphs today. We're going to just go by the equation. The vertex then is 2, but there's no K. That means it has to be 0. That also means that there is no movement up and down. They just move it 2 to the right, or right 2. All right, let's try this one. This is your A. A is 1/2. That means that A is between 0 and 1, making it wider. So why is that? Why does big numbers make it skinnier? That means it just goes up faster. And wider means that it takes longer to go up, and that's what makes it wider. Let's take a look here. X minus 0 squared is what's really written. We don't have to write the minus 0. That's why it's not written here. It could also be written as y is equal to 1/2 x squared, where you don't need the parentheses. It still means that x minus 0 is being squared. So that means our x value is 0. And our K value is negative 4. That means there's no left and right movement, but down 4. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This negative sign means that A is negative. And that would mean that we have a vertical shift. Vertical reflection, sorry. Vertical reflection. Well, what does that mean in the picture? Remember, we're not really graphing them today. I'm just giving you a general idea. That means that now it's a frowny face. It's going to be facing down and have a vertical reflection. So anytime that this is negative, it's going to face down. Our vertex is a negative 3. Don't forget to change the value of the x, and of the h, and then k was 0. That means that we have to move to the left because that's the negative side. 3. And there's no up and down change. This one, it's negative. That means a reflection, a vertical reflection. It's a 2. Bigger than 1, that means narrower. Our vertex is 1, 1. That means to the right 1 because of this one. And up 1 because of this one. And our last one, we have a negative that makes it a vertical reflection. It's not narrower or wider because there's no value on here. Our vertex is -1, 2. So you change this one, keep this one the same. That means it's to the left 1 and up 2 because it's positive.